I'll give a good example. We relate it back to the life of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. When he was in Mecca, he was marginalized, he was abused by the Quraysh. And it wasn't until he had that dialogue with the people of Medina and that he essentially came to power in Medina, that with that position of power, he was able to present realistic solutions to society's problems because people could actually see them in action. You know, people could see, well, you know what, this is an Islamic solution to racial hatred between, you could say, African slaves that was there and the Arab nobility, and how you get rid of that. It was a theory in Mecca. In Medina, it became a practice and the people could see it. So yeah, and I think Muslims have got to stop being scared about saying that we have a viable alternative, but we've got to be realistic. You need power, okay? Marxism was a theory until Russia came into existence with the October Revolution, which is now the 100th year anniversary, you know? Whatever, even let's take it back to the American Revolution, you know? The founding fathers of America, George Washington, Benjamin Franklin, had an idea of an egalitarian society, but they wasn't able to try and implement it until they actually took power from the British. But it's kind of like, I think what happens with a lot of Muslims now is that we look around the world and we see groups like ISIS and Al-Qaeda and perhaps maybe some of the things they're doing, so we kind of get scared of saying, oh, we want power, because you're scared of being labelled as an extremist, as a terrorist, as a sympathiser, where, you know, I say this, you know, I see the Irish say they want power in Ireland to establish a nation, one nation, and not one in the south and one in the north. So we got to stop being scared of saying, yeah, we want power, but not for our own sake, but for the benefit of humanity. And that's what it comes down to for me. And it's like, I love my sci-fi, okay? I'm a big Star Wars fan. And I remember there's the scene where Obi-Wan Kenobi is explaining the purpose of the Jedi to Luke Skywalker. And he says, you know, they were the guardians of peace and justice before the dark times, before the Empire. And that's kind of what it is for me as a Muslim. We are meant to be the guardians of peace and justice on this planet. But because, and this is where I have to be critical, because we don't implement it internally, how can we expect other people to say that they would be happy to live under Muslim rule? We want to see, like what happened when Tariq bin Zayd conquered Spain. The Jews were happy to live under Muslim rule. Why? Because they were given freedom of religion to practice their faith. They weren't being persecuted. And then we know that even when Andalusia fell in 1492, where did they go? They went to Turkey. Why? Because under the Ottoman Caliphate, they were given freedom of religion to express that how they wished and how they wanted to. You know? So I think let's look at most Muslim societies today. I'm a Muslim, would I want to live under them? No, I wouldn't. They're tyrannical, they're oppressive. Not because they're implementing Islam, because they're not implementing Islam. And we've got to stop being scared of saying that.